Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us here. We've got an AMA with the absolutely magnificent Peter Molyneux. I am Jason BitBender Brink, and very happy to welcome you guys here to our channel. We're going to give it just a few minutes and let some people trickle in and get into the stream. We'll be taking questions from the Legacy discussion channel in our Discord at galagames.chat. So if you're not there, I highly recommend you join up. But before we get into all of that, how are you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing pretty good. The UK has been battered by storms recently, and now we've got, for the first time in as long as I can remember, we've got blue skies, which always makes us a bit more cheery here.
Of course,
Don't see them very often. If I'm honest.
Yeah. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we get our share of storms and fog and days, months where it just seems to rain every single day. So we understand that.
Yeah.
How about the rest of the team? How are you guys doing? I know you have a couple people there, sort of on the side with you.
I've got the fantastic Neil, who is doing a lot of that work on the narrative.
There we go.
Out with some balancing issues, and I've got Milo here, who is what?
There we go.
Yeah. Milo's breaking all the things, Peter.
Oh, right. As usual. So we're here to answer anyone's questions, and we're very excited to answer those questions as well.
Yeah, well, if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. GM to everybody. I'm seeing a lot of those in channel, so very, very nice to see that. Let's go ahead and, while people are bringing in their questions, I'm going to go ahead and pull some of the questions that people gave us previously. A lot of these questions came from other international communities and things like that, where it's not always as easy for them to hop in, or they're asking questions in another language. Oh, interesting. Will there be police call boxes or other references to various pop culture in the game?
Well, there is planned a whole culture around police stations and hospitals, either the civic buildings. And as part of that, yes, obviously, this is made by a British company, and we love our pop culture. So there will be, potentially, I'd love to have a Doctor Who style police box. Not that they have been used in the UK. We don't use those in the UK anymore. Police cars don't drive up to a police box to phone back. But
right.
Yeah, we can use that. We have within the game, there is this whole layer and strata. I haven't talked about it at all, which is called decorations, and those are things you can decorate your town. Now, a lot of decorations you may think, well, they just look pretty, but they affect the mood of all of your workers. And the better the mood of the workers, the better, the more productive they are. The more productive they are, the more competitions you win. The more competitions you win, the more legacy coin you got. So I absolutely think that we're going to have a lot of pop culture references in there. That's nice. Red telephone boxes, and my personal wish is for the Doctor Who style police telephone box. And of course, yeah, being a designer, as soon as someone mentions something like that, you think, oh, I wonder if when you tap on the police box, it goes into an alternative universe. And that's where Milo and Neil come in to stop the rampant, ridiculous avenues which I can possibly take.
Yeah, I do understand that. Do you have a favorite Doctor Who?
Well, it was a very old Doctor Who called Tom Baker, but I think he was usurped by David Tennant.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately, I The current Doctor Who, she isn't my absolute favourite, not at all. She's too
Fair enough.
scatty, and we could have a whole hour talking about Doctor Who.
Let's not, though. As much as fun
No.
as it would be, let's not do that.
Yeah. That's not-
Okay, let's see here. Let's see if there's any questions in the chat that are coming through. Apart from land, what other NFTs can we expect to see available? And this is from from a user in our Discord with the name of Taco, and that is currently my favorite name because I'm very hungry.
Manu, why don't you take that question?
Sure. So we are working on. I'll just try and get into the frame again.
Keep backing up. Keep backing up. There we go.
Backing up.
There you go. There you go.
Working on a range of game items that we're going to release as part of NFT drops. So you may have seen the game footage and the things that you can use as blueprints or design components to design your world and really make all of the buildings and all of the products. So those we are strongly considering, and of course keeping our eyes open for what Jason is kind of bringing to us as well. So it's in discussion with Jason. We're really working on those drops.
I mean, I think something should be said is that because this is a simulation, everything in your world gains experience. I'm going to use that term experience as a catch-all for improving. So all the buildings you design, the more you use them, the more they will improve. All the workers that you've got, the more you use them, the more they improve. And obviously this makes, it means that buildings are by their very nature unique because of that experience system. And all of this kind of intertwines. So if you've got an experienced worker working in an experienced mine, for example, they're going to produce things an awful lot faster.
Okay. Question from the community the other day. I believe this is from the Korean community. Is this going to be a persistent world? Going to have a reset competition like Townstar does?
So I love the concept of persistence. I love the idea that I can be working on something and I can improve it at the start of the game. That improve the speed at which you improve is incredibly fast. You're within a few days, you're turning this tiny little village into a manufacturing town. But why not continue that persistence? So we are keeping legacy persistent. And that means that when we're building it, we have to allow for vast mega cities to be created because, okay, your speed at the start of the game is quite fast, and you're building a lot of buildings, and you're getting a lot of new content. Late, but that speed of acceleration is going to continue through the game. So there's always going to be some building to redesign or some building to tweak, or especially important is the placement of those buildings. So that's why we need that persistence there.
Yeah, and if you spent all that time building that up and then that all vanished, then that would be
and
not fun.
The thing is, Jason, you've got to remember that you can visit other people's towns and cities. You can be inspired by what they've done. You can even, and there's a question on this, you can even do some cheeky little things in their worlds. And what you'll find when you visit other people's towns, at the start, everyone's town looks the same, as
Right.
you would expect. But as time goes on, after the first day you've been playing, you'll realize, well, gosh, my town looks very different from Jason's town. He's placed all his factories in one location and all his mines in another location, where in my town I've kept a mine and factory together. He's redesigned some of his buildings because he wants more information out of them. there's a whole host of reasons why every town is unique in this totally persistent world.
Well, that's cool.
Mm.
I like that. Will deeds be able to be leveled up?
Will what be able to level up? Sorry, I didn't
Will
catch that.
deeds like their land deeds? Can you?
So the concept of your town is your deed effectively. So absolutely, you'll be leveling up your town, and you'll really. I really want people to get addicted to leveling up. You know, I love leveling up. I love increasing the potential of my town. I love winning those competitions. So leveling up is absolutely key to this game. And you can, as I said before, you can level up your workers. You can level up buildings. You can level up your business level, and all that has an effect on all the systems in the game. So, for example, if you're designing something and you have leveled up your town by going through the business levels, you'll find you'll be making more money on the products that you make. So, when you get in your mind that your town your town is leveling up, and so you're leveling up, absolutely is the answer to that question.
Okay, but probably not in like leveling up in terms of rarity of the NFT itself. Like the NFT probably isn't going to change into something else.
I don't think so. No,
Yeah,
no.
No, I don't think so as well. And just to be clear, guys, he mentioned that they were doing some of this with me. There's a whole game team behind this that is meeting on the weekly basis. So yeah, let's see here. Let's pull some questions from the Discord. Are we using deeds? And this is from Sharkosaur. Are we using deeds to select the location? Is the location going to be like first come, first served? So will there be like a land rush component to this?
Milo, why don't you take that one now?
Jason, could you say that one again?
Sure. So basically the question is will we be using deeds to select a location? Will there be a land rush type of component, upon release?
Absolutely. So when you bought your land deed, you essentially have the right to claim one of the land plots on the map that you can see on playlegacy.game. So we'll be releasing more details on exactly how we're going to roll out this land rush, but it will be a land rush of sorts. You'll be able to go onto the map and pick which location exactly you want to start your business in.
Nice. I like it. And there we go. Five Tricks asked a question. It says game footage looks pretty ready to go. When do you expect a playable beta or final release? We don't ever do dates. We don't ever do dates because that is the easiest way to wreck yourself, because that's not really how development works. It doesn't follow calendars very well. Unless you would disagree with that, Peter.
Absolutely not. I mean, what we're doing is Legacy is incredibly complex. There's a simulation-based gameplay. There's this persistent element there. We've got these competitions that need to be absolutely fair and nailed, and we're working incredibly hard on balancing and refining all those mechanics. Now, when we are ready to release, and personally, I can't wait for this to happen, and we're working, as I said, incredibly hard to make that happen as soon as possible. When we do release it, we have a tradition. If you can just see behind me, we've got on the wall these pictures, and that's where we get the whole team to sign and agree to release something. So we're going to be doing it soon. We're working incredibly hard on fixing the bugs. What I don't want to do is release something that after you've been playing for 2 or 3 days there's some horrendous bug which means you have to start again, because that would
Right.
just ruin the experience. We want to, the most crucial thing about releasing this pre-alpha build is that we learn from you playing. And if you're wading through, you know, hundreds of bugs or 10 bugs or some crash bugs, then the only thing that we're going to learn from you is how damn frustrating that is. So we've got to get to a level where we're sure that it's secure, it's fair, and it's relatively bug free. It won't be completely bug free, but the bugs that you will encounter will be annoying at worst, rather than fatal if we were to release it too early. But I can assure everyone, we are just living, breathing, eating legacy at the moment, and we're all focused completely 100% on fixing those crash bug issues, balancing the game world, and making sure that when you do compete with other people, it's on a level footing and it's fair.
Nice. This is a question from Dark Magician. What is your ideal number of players you'd like to see long term?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well, 7 billion?
That seems excessive, but
Well,
we'll
it
roll
was
with
probably
it.
8 billion. I mean, why not think about making a game that everybody would love and play? That, you know, and this is the thing about blockchain gaming for me, is that if we can make a game which is a great game, a great experience for people who want to dabble, and a incredibly rewarding people who experience for people who want to delve in, then, you know, what
And why not
you know, we
everybody?
could be, yeah, we could be very ambitious. I can feel Neil and Milo both squirming, and the server coder squirming. He's actually just looked at me with a look of death. We're thinking of tens of thousands at this stage.
Okay.
But we built the game to scale, so, you know, tens of thousands could potentially turn into hundreds of thousands. And what would be incredible is, because these are persistent worlds, the oldest towns and the oldest players will just have this incredible mega city. It's rather like, you know, I want it to feel like, okay, I'm starting to play Legacy, and there's people that's been playing, you know, for a long time. The analogy is, you can start a technology company now. It's going to be a bit of time before you're going to be competing with Apple and Google, but you can
Right.
absolutely do it. Why can't you do the same in Legacy?
Nice. I like that. Rakesh asks, will there be a weekly, monthly competition where top players are awarded?
Well, we're thinking about the frequency of our competitions, and we've got we have authored 2 big competition types. The first competition type, it measures things about your production, about how fast you can produce things. There's one competition which business can get the most profit within a 24-hour period. Another one is which business can make the most sales, which is subtly different to the most profit in a 24-hour period. Those people all compete against each other. Now, one crucial thing is that 99% of the time you're competing with people around about your level. So you'll never have someone who's just started playing the game competing with someone who's been playing over many years. You'll be playing people in the similar level.
Right.
So we call those things awards, and they're more measuring how efficiently you've set up your town, your factories. They measure the town satisfaction, how happy your workers are. And then we've got the creative side. They're called design competitions, and that's where we set a challenge to you, like design the Prince of Wales's birthday cake, or design James Bond's bicycle, or design a teddy bear for Madonna's latest adopted child. And those are voted on by everyone that you're competing with. You don't know whose design you're voting on. And again, if you win that, and the beauty about that is we're measuring people who are creative. People who are purely creative, they can do well, and people who are really into the business side, they can also do well.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I love about Legacy, and I've played with a few of the different play tests, is the creation table. It's a lot of fun to be able to, drag
Design
stuff
table.
around and make crazy things. I made like a bicycle that looked like a Roman chariot with like a row of different wheels on it. It was very, very entertaining.
Can you find a few designs that people have done that we could post on the channel?
Sure, I'll find a few.
There you go. Paul, you got some stuff coming your direction here in a second. Let's see, where was it? I saw a question. Where was it? Don't worry. Well, here, let me actually ask a question here. Oxy asks, will the alpha game test be persistent or not, or will there be like a reset?
I'd love to believe that the alpha build will be persistent. I'd love to believe that, but I think we've got to be cautious. So there will be probably a big warning that if things go wrong on the server, we might have to reset the world. But one of the things, if we do reset people's worlds, we may be able to give them an advantage if we have to throw them back to the start again. And we'll take every effort to try and keep that persistence there. Obviously, we'll open the doors on this, and then we'll have to close them again after we've learned all the stuff from you guys, while we work on what we found from that playtest.
Okay, nice. Got a question here that was asked from one of the other community members. Do we have a good marketing team for the game to get more views and interactions? And the answer to that is absolutely. We're in the process of scaling right now. We just brought in a new head of marketing and a new user acquisition expert, and are pushing all sorts of interesting things out right now. So you're going to see, and probably, at least if you're in the United States and you spend any time on the internet, you're going to begin seeing a lot of ads for Google, or for, on Google for us. I know that some of my websites, I keep getting hit with Gala music ads. So you're going to see a lot of stuff like that, and some of that is going to be legacy oriented.
And we've just taken on someone who is dedicated to supplying those assets to the marketing people, because there's so many stories to tell, and there's so many things to highlight. That needs to be supported by great marketing visuals, some videos. We want to update Discord with just a deluge of articles and videos. In fact, we've got one almost ready to go, haven't we, Neil?
Yeah, it's coming.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that, and then
we're going to? Well, hopefully today you're going to see a video and a dev diary that details a lot more about what Legacy Coin is, how you get it, what you can spend it on, and the glory that it is. We're just finishing up the last few finishing touches before we put it out. Hopefully today. If not today, it's going to be Monday at the very latest, but I'm pretty sure today's the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just the start of this regular flow of information. And some of that, I think what those dev diaries will do in the first instance is just explain some of the mechanics in a little bit more detail than we're able to do on an AMA or you know, on a single reply to a Discord channel. And then after we've explained these individual mechanics, these are everything from legacy coin. We've got a big content about award ceremonies, big content about design ceremonies, big content about individual buildings. We'll then be moving on to some of the strategies. You know, why should I redesign a building? What, you know, was there a kind of FYI of designing the best sort of product, just to get. I think when you go into the strategies, that's when people start to realize the real depth of the game that we've created here.
I really like that. I mean, you really can't overstate the importance of environment. You know, and I like the fact that this being a simulation. I mean, for me personally, it's one of those interesting things where if you have your desk and your desk is not correctly configured and stuff is in the wrong place, or you know it's messy, or you know any of those things, it becomes really difficult for you to get any work done. So you have to redesign your workspace to get all of your monitors up, everything where it's supposed to be, so it's easy for you to work. I like that, and I think that what you guys are doing here is somewhat analogous to that concept of improving.
I mean, this is the problem. I mean, to take your analogy, when you start playing Legacy, it's like having an empty desk.
Right.
You know, you've just got one thing on your desk. You know what can possibly go wrong? After you've been playing Legacy for a while, and this is true if you're running a business or you've got a new desk, things can get cluttered, and you have to have moments where you think, you know what, I've just got to redesign my whole town. You move all the buildings around. I've got to get used to designing products rather than it being these crazy products which cost a huge number of resources. I've got to get into the zen of designing a great product that doesn't cost too much to make. And this is what, like businesses, you know, I could, in fact, one of my son's friends, my son's 19, and one of his friends, they're all kind of rampantly keen to be entrepreneurs. So he's just gone out and set up his own little business. Already, it's a complete train wreck. And I think playing Legacy does teach you about, well, at some points I have to just take a pause and redesign these things and clean everything up.
I learned so much from video games as a kid. Like I can't even, you know, about all sorts of different topics. I am, and Lane is going to discover this someday. I will absolutely wreck shop at pub trivia quizzes, and a lot of that comes from video games.
Really?
Okay, let's see here. Pulling some more questions. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, thank you, Paul. We do have some products to show that have been created in game. So, show that is a fancy looking cake.
So this was probably done for a design competition, and this is an ice cream strawberry ice cream cake. Absolutely delicious, but that's going to be quite expensive to make. You're going to make a lot of profit probably from making that, but the number of resources you're going to need to make one of those, and you're going to be wanting, if you've got a big town, you're going to be wanting to make hundreds of these things. So it looks beautiful, but maybe lose the little bows around the bottom. That's probably going to save you 6 or 7 resources per product you make.
Interesting. Man, that makes me hungry. Why do you guys got to do this to me? I haven't had breakfast yet. I quit drinking coffee. What am I supposed to do here? We've got like a sad kombucha downstairs that's breakfast.
Right.
Freaking strawberry cake.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Okay, so Hassan.eth asks if items in the game will be created as NFTs, or is that still kind of an open discussion? Wait. A burger? Now a burger? I go to
Yeah.
another
Well,
street.
that
Bring the
burger
burger back,
is
Paul.
a
Bring the
real
burger back.
simple. That's a real simple burger. So the person that made that, there may be the number of orders they get for that, or that product will be less, but their cost of production will be so much lower. So they'll be able to churn these burgers out, rather like McDonald's. You don't find in McDonald's, you don't find the most incredibly fancy burgers. You find
True.
simple burgers that are incredibly cost effective to make. So that's the unique thing about this. Are you going to be someone that's running a business making high quality premium products, which you're going to make a lot of a lot of profit on each one, but they're going to take a lot longer to make, or you're going to be churning stuff out like McDonald's or Burger King.
Why is it with food? Is everything
Yeah,
food?
because
Can't we have a crazy
that's
bicycle
true.
here or something? Come on, guy. A donut and an ice cream sundae?
Go
What are
on,
you
let's
doing to me? What are you doing?
switch to bicycles. You can't get hungry about bicycles.
No, I think it's interesting. It's that balance between like mass product and a
Yeah.
craftsmanship sort of thing. It's kind of like there's one woman in Hollywood, and literally her whole freaking job, I think she's based in Los Angeles, is she makes leather pants for Sheryl Crow, and she makes like 7 pairs of leather pants a year, and they're like 50 grand each.
Right.
Obviously, there we go. It's a teddy bear with the button eyes.
Yeah.
Teddy bears are always kind of nightmare fuel for me, and I don't know why, but I like it.
Yeah, teddy bears as a toy. One of the things you will find fascinating, and this is some of the detail that we put in. We've given a lot of products, a lot of product parts, the full history of those products. So, teddy bears, I think I'm right. I'm only remembering this. Teddy bears were created for Theodore Roosevelt
I
as
believe
a
so.
gift
Yeah.
to him. And it's just fascinating to see the history of these things. And we, as you're playing the game, rather like when I played Civilization, when I first played Civilization, I knew nothing about the Babylonians or the Aztec people, and it's only through, like yourself, playing the game that I learned stuff. That's an aspiration for Legacy as well.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Ah, what a cute little hat. I was in the other tab looking at things. What is going on? Is that a robot arm? It's a teddy bear with a robot arm? That's amazing.
This is one of the things, to unlock new parts, you've got to get to the research lab.
Okay.
And when you've built a research lab in your town, you can unlock new parts for your product, and we've got thousands of parts already authored.
Okay.
We've got tens of product lines and thousands of parts already authored. And of course, when it comes to things like design competitions, when it comes to things like the award ceremony, the more parts you have, the more flexibility you have. So going back to that analogy I said earlier, if there's an award ceremony for most sales, you want to use the cheapest product parts you can, because cheap product parts cost less materials, and because they cost less materials, it means they're much faster to make. Right. So if you're making that burger we saw, you could probably and these numbers aren't any numbers to rest on, you could probably if you had 3 or 4 factories, you could probably churn out hundreds of those an hour. Where if you've got that really fancy cake, you're churning out 10 of those an hour. So most sales, when that award ceremony comes along, you want to reconfigure your products and make those cheap products, not those expensive products. But when it comes to most profit, then you want to think about, right, this part I'm going to use is a cheap part. I've used it a lot of times before. I'm not going to use that cheap part. I'm going to use a more unique, rare part, and that's going to give you That's going to give you the more profit. And then when it comes to design competitions, you obviously want to do the best design you probably can, possibly can.
Right, right. Got some questions here. I'm going to pull some. Dark Magician, what are those parts to the left? So on the left in each of these pictures, you're going to see a number of items that can be built into the design, and these are unlocked using the research lab.
Now, there's one more thing to say about that. If you look at those pictures, you can see that those parts are in drawers. And if you look at the top of that drawer set, there's a little dial, and that allows you to change the what's in the drawers, because you've got if you've got multiple product lines, you'll have, say you've got teddy bears and bicycles, you'll have teddy bear parts in one drawer set, you'll have bicycle parts in another drawer set, you'll have another drawer set to do with buildings, and we allow you to mix any parts from any drawer set. So if you want to, I wouldn't recommend it because they're quite highly flammable. I'm just giving you a hint there. But if you wanted to build the entirety of your town out of teddy bear heads and have all the people in your town living in teddy bears, then you can absolutely do that. If you want to make a bicycle with a front door as a seat, you can absolutely do that. I wouldn't recommend it. You know, teddy bear
but you have that freedom.
Are flammable, and accidents do happen in your little town.
So let me add, this is a question for me personally. What do you think in the long term of getting community involvement and or a community of modders behind adding new product lines and parts? Sorry, playing with stuff on my desk. New product lines and parts.
I adore that idea, and we've spent a long time authoring a system which means that it's very, very fast for us to drop new blocks into the game, new product parts into the game, new buildings into the game, almost anything into the game, because we would love and adore the community to be able to do that. I think, one of the things here, Jason, is when you're thinking about and designing a game, and you're thinking, well, I want people to play it for years, we're going to have to get the community involved.
Right.
And they're going to have to help us with that, because, we just couldn't feed the machine that is the game enough. And I think the community, it's not only their ability to make a block, it's their ability to be creative with the things that you can do with the game, which is just so exciting.
Right. Got a question from sorry, Hassan. I got distracted by food. The question was, will the products crafted in game be NFTs or no? I think there's some back and forth on that.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
So it's so tempting to say yes to this, but it's a very complicated question.
Right.
But let me just give you some idea of why that answer could be yes. I'm not saying it is yes, but why it could be yes. When you're making, let's just take a building, for example, because I think that's probably the least contentious. When you're designing a building, you will have, in the course of the game, unlocked blocks which perhaps very, very few people have. And that means you can make a building which not only looks different to almost every other building in the world, in the legacy world, but also has different functionality to it. And let's just talk about, for a second, on a building, you can put all sorts of parts which tell you, the player, what's going on inside the building. You can show on the outside of the building the amount of stock, you can show the amount of market that's left, you can show the happiness of your workers, you can show the efficiency of the building. Now, some of those blocks are rare, and that means that obviously that's good for NFTs. But let's go back to that experience point, because buildings get better and better the more they are used. Just like any experience system, if we're playing a role-playing game, you're playing a role-playing game and you gain experience, you go up levels. Every one of your buildings gains experience and goes up levels.
Right.
So if I design a building, I put it in my world, and I've been playing with it for a month. It's been in constant use for a month. Its value, its experience would have gone up to a level which is really exciting.
Right.
All of this is really exciting for NFTs, and anyone who, if we did decide to do this, would buy your building would not only be buying your design for the building, but
They'd be
also
buying that
they would be
experience and
buying
time.
the experience. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
precisely.
So what I'm hearing here is that the answer is likely going to be some sort of mixed solution where, obviously you don't want you don't want a McDonald's burger NFT, right? Like
No,
that doesn't make any sense.
no,
If you have a one of one product that maybe won a design competition, maybe that might be something that would be an
exactly.
NFT, but not
Precisely.
like every little
Precisely.
thing.
No.
Okay.
I think to make it valuable, to make it worthwhile, I think that we have to limit the ability to put anything up onto the market,
Yeah.
to publish anything. I mean, if everyone could publish the basic house that their worker lives in, it would be
You have a bunch
ridiculous.
of useless basic houses and a clutter up a chain. Yeah.
Exactly. What we
Um,
love is uniqueness, and I think there's a hint there to how we're
Okay.
going to solve this.
Rustic Hip asks, will there be an API to export data eventually? The blockchain
Now,
space is a little bit weird.
why do people want to do that? I mean, there is a vast amount of data.
Yeah. So my supposition is that specifically when it gets into like the play to earn space and things like that, people are going to want to see the data as it moves across the game. How many people are playing, all of that. Again, this is part of the blockchain gaming like ethos. It's very, very different from like the traditional gaming world. So you don't have to answer that question right now. You just ponder that.
No,
if you'd like.
I can answer that question actually. I can't answer it about things like how many people are playing design competitions, what the average time spent in the game is. We've got analytics to do that stuff, and
Right.
all those analytic hooks are already in the game. But what we do have, which is something I might consider allowing you to export from the game, is we do have this ability to export a huge amount of data about the efficiency of your world.
Interesting.
So, and with I'm going and I was balancing one of the numbers called a consecutive multiplier today, and we do that by exporting a spreadsheet from the game world that reports on each building, its efficiency, the number of workers, the efficiency of those workers, how much time the workers spend traveling, how much time they spend actually manufacturing. We've got all that stuff. Normally you would hide it from the gamer, but from the player. But maybe we should allow people to do that.
I think people would go absolutely nuts about that because, one of the things that they'll do, and if you watch the way that people play Townstar, it blows my mind because they will have spreadsheets that optimize and auto calculate where they're supposed to place everything and to get the maximum efficiency and which direction they turn the windmill, because if they turn the windmill this way, it shaves off 1 second of travel time. And they get so competitive about it. It's beautiful and amazing to watch. I do not have time to do that, but it's very cool.
Let's make it easy for those people. And what I can say, if you want this data, you're going to have to work for it a little bit. It will be an unlock in what we call the business flow. So there's no point in having that data, the first 10 minutes that you start playing. You really want that data after you've been playing a few competitions and we've been going into a few award ceremonies. then you're starting to think, why did that guy beat me? Now you can go and
Right.
visit his town and see his layout, but wouldn't it be cool if the next time you achieve you got through a gate of the business flow, it gave you the choice: do you want another factory, or do you want to
Right.
unlock the data export from your world? So the game of legacy is, as business is, all about choices.
Right.
Am I going to have this, or am I going to have this? And something like a spreadsheet allows people to really consider those choices. It's going to be, oh God, I can't wait to get this game out to you guys. I really can't. Just to see what people do, just to see what their designs are like, what their worlds are like, how they're winning competitions and competing against. It's going to be fascinating.
I love your passion for it, man. You know,
Absolutely.
you've always made amazing games. So this is going to be very cool. Here's a question from the community the other day. How does the play to earn mechanism for somebody who owns land work out?
Come on, Ed, why don't you take this one?
Absolutely. So, as you guys have surely read on the website, as a landowner, essentially what you're getting is the right to start a business association. So you get two things here. You're allowed to play the game, and you can participate in the core gameplay, all of the meta features, the competitions, which give you the chance to win legacy coin. And you also gain access to legacy keys, which can be lent out to other users, so they can also play legacy. And when they earn legacy coin through those competitive events, it will be shared with you as an owner.
Hey guys.
Perfect. Who just walked in?
That was Lucas, who is working on the video for our first dev diary, and he's just come back from lunch. A little bit late, I have to say, but never mind.
What was for lunch, Lucas? I have to know. There's this whole food thing going on this morning.
You have to know what you had for lunch. What
It's
did you have
important.
for lunch? A burger.
Getting so hungry as well.
Of course.
And donuts.
And burger and donuts. Holy shit. Okay. Now here's another question from the other day. How do people obtain materials in the game?
Right. Now, materials are essential for the success of your business. You, at the start of the game, you have a single mine, and that mine will make the materials necessary to manufacture the product line that you've chosen. At the start of the game, you can choose from a choice of 3, 4, or 5 different product lines, depending on which cohort that you're in. That mine has to be operated, it has to be manned by workers, or it has to be interacted by you. But it's not infinite. What you'll find is that that mine will be getting low, and that's when you look around your world and realize that the legacy map that you've got that has lots of different regions, and lots of those regions have different mines in. So if your mine is getting low, you may want to think about expanding out to a certain territory. Again, this is all about choice, Jason.
Right.
Because you need one sort of, if we take bikes, for example, if you're making bikes, you'll have a metal mine. At the start of the game, there's tons of metal ore in that metal mine, but the more you produce, the more expensive the design of your product is, the more you're going to be using that metal mine. But you may be tempted to say, you know what, I really wish I could paint my bicycles. That's going to increase my profit. I'm going to be doing better in those award and design competitions. But I need silica to make the paint. You have to manufacture the paint. Again, that's another resource that you need to go and find. If you can't find it in your world, or you haven't unlocked a territory with a silica mining, you can always use the trading house. And in the trading house, you can buy those essential raw materials. What you'll find is, for example, you've gone into a design competition, you made the perfect bicycle for a perfect clown's bicycle, and you're desperate to get that launched because you're sure it's going to win design competitions, but you haven't got quite enough of the essential materials that you need to make that product. That's when the trading house really comes into its own. When you need to make that final order, or you need to make that final design competition and buying those resources, it's absolutely essential. So materials, everything you design, from houses and buildings to products, they all need materials to be made in your factories.
I like it. I like it.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why it's taking a bit of time to get this pre-alpha. All those things have to be balanced. They all have to be balanced out. So if you take buildings, for example, the first buildings you make, they're simple buildings. They're made, you just need clay to make the bricks. But later in the game, you're going to be wanting to use blocks that have glass in them. And you'll need to go and get those.
Okay. That sounds really awesome. So we have one more question from Sharkosaur. If we buy products from others or win the design competition, will we have a place to display that collection in our town in a cosmetic or decor style?
Well, you certainly can display, and there is a way of displaying the trophies that you have won. If you bought something from another player, it's up to you. You can, any of the products that you've got or any of the products that you make, you can pick up and you can place anywhere you want. So if you want to make your own arcade of your own fabulous way of displaying the products you made, you can absolutely do that. Absolutely.
Nice. Wonderful. Let's take one more question here. How do land parcels interact with each other? Do you interact with neighboring parcels?
Milo, why don't you answer this one while I just go and get a glass of water?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
It's all you, Milo.
So that one's got a little bit of there's two sides to it. So I think everyone's kind of seen the big map of London, and they're wondering, okay, great, is there a big difference now if I choose the plot next to the river or if I choose one which is a bit further away from the river? So we don't currently have any plans for differences between gameplay, whether you're closer to the river or further away from the river. There are differences depending on what rarity of plot that you choose. And we're also going to be releasing more information on the details of that. We just really work on the multiplayer aspect really nicely. But you'll hear a lot about this in the dev diary. I'm sure Jason will be in touch. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to say? We got a couple thank yous for coming in the Discord, so that's wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to talk, Peter. Do you have anything that you'd like to say?
I think through Discord, some of the players wanted to know about alpha testing, play testing early, and what we would do about that, and we discussed that, and our decision was, Milo, what's the decision on our letting in landowners into playtests?
So essentially, we've heard you on Discord. We've been really attentive, and we'd like to get the landowners, the people who bought in early, to participate in our pre-alpha and our alpha and beta as soon as possible. So we'll release something with the details exactly of how that's going to work, but we are moving that a little bit forward for the owner. We've really taken your feedback on board on that side. Yeah.
That is awesome. We all appreciate that. Well, that's let's go ahead and call that a wrap today, guys. Thank you very much. And to the community, we look forward to talking more soon. And I will be in Discord quite a bit today. So I will see you guys around. And thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate your patience most of all. And just know that we are working incredibly hard to make this step change in blockchain gaming. It absolutely should be. If anyone is in the region of Guildford in the UK, you're more than welcome to pop into the office and see how we're getting on.
Oh boy, you're gonna get somebody, I'm pretty sure.
Great.
So thank you guys so much, and we'll go from there.
Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you.
Bye all.